Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Are you wondering how to separate the fact from the fantasy when you meet these men or women that are potential partners? Let me tell you how. I think I've figured it out. I don't know if you're like me, but every time I meet somebody or have that connection with somebody or start to think that I'm on a path of making a romantic partner relationship, I get all excited. Woohoo, this is the one. This could be the one. This could be the one. He's so exciting. He's so interesting to talk to. He knows so many different things. Oh, I just love that we have this in common and this in common and this in common. Okay, so great. But then, after about the third or the fourth time that you meet and have a conversation, you start to realize that all that excitement that you had in the beginning needs to be sifted through and kind of vetted for what is actually going to turn out to be somewhat of a love connection. So, of course, when you're looking for these love connections, you're listening, actively listening, paying attention, asking questions, watching personal quirks that might be a concern to you, paying attention to tone and inflection, all of those things that are involved in active listening. But you're also listening to the words too. And when you start sifting through the words, you realize that maybe you aren't quite as connected as you thought you might be in the first place. Let me give you an example. I live in Southern Colorado. Here in Southern Colorado, men and women usually live here because of the outdoor activities that the area has to offer. Everything from bungee jumping to pickleball, everything in between, okay? I don't want to do everything. So first of all, let's just take the example of activities. Of course, there's other things that you want to have in common, but let's start with the activities. And let's say here in the summer, if I'm going to be dating a man, I'm thinking he might be interested in biking, fishing, or motorcycling. Those are pretty common around here. First of all, I'm going to look at those activities and say, are any one of them something that I would like to do? Biking, I like to do. I've liked to do it my whole life. It is just a natural for me. Fishing, my kids, my sons are avid fishermen. And when they were little, I was really involved in getting them fishing and hunting down those best places to fish and all of that. But now I'm familiar with fishing. I'd really like to get into fly fishing, but I don't have any equipment for it. I've never been, actually, technically. So I'm open to it, but not really my thing. The third thing that I had written down for the summer is motorcycles. I love to go motorcycle riding. I do not want to be on one for 8 hours a day. I've done that. I like to go for, a half a day up in the mountains, maybe a full day if we're on and off the bike. I don't have any equipment except for a helmet. You should always have your own helmet. I have a helmet, but I do not have any other equipment, accoutrements, wardrobe, nothing like that. Okay, so I have one thing for sure I know I can do. Bike, I have a bike. And I have two things that are optional that I might be interested in. Is now you have 3 activities narrowed down. So you don't have to go through the whole list when you're talking to this man. You can find out if any of those activities are attractive to him. If they aren't, well, right off the bat, you either need to start your list from scratch or you're not going to be a match. So let's say you meet somebody that says, oh, I have a bike. Just like I met somebody recently that said, yeah, I bike ride. Great, we have a connection. The next step in making the connection, so we're just going to go with the biking now. We're going to forget about the fishing and the motorcycling, because the reason why these activities are so important is because Right now, you're just dating, right? You're just getting started with somebody. It's kind of like buying a car, okay? You take a car out, you test drive it 1, 2, 3 times maybe. You talk to the mechanic, you take it to your own mechanic, you get it checked out, but really you might spend maybe 8 hours with that car before you take it home. Now, when you date somebody, you probably are spending between 10 and 20 hours test driving them to decide whether you want to move further in this relationship. If you do want to move further in this relationship, you want to continue it, see where it goes, you're going to have some foundational things that you're going to share time doing. And that's why these activities are so important. You need to find things that you like, first of all, and that might be a match for the person sitting across from you. Okay, so now we've determined with this person sitting across from me that biking is going to be what we're going to talk about and see if we have a connection. So there's 3 ways that I evaluate if this activity is right for both of us. First of all, do we both have the right equipment? Oh, I heard he said he has a bike, and I have a bike too. Great, first one's down. Number 2 is, do you have a goal for that activity, or do you spend dedicated time with that activity, either weekly, daily, or monthly? Now, if I meet somebody that's bike riding on a daily basis, I'm not that much into a routine. I kind of do it on a maybe 3 or 4 times a week basis right now. It's a little chilly, and I might extend that in the summer, but right now, a couple of times a week, 3, 4 times a week. All right, so I asked this guy, how often do you bike ride? Oh, I bike ride every day. Oh, you do? Okay, so now he bike rides every day. I bike ride a couple of times a week. How does that mesh together? So I have a follow-up question. How long do you ride for, and where do you go? Because that will tell me what kind of fitness level he's at, which is the 3rd thing I consider, is the fitness level or the level of expertise with the activity. So him saying that he bike rides every day makes me think, he might be a little more than, I'm not a beginner, but I'm definitely not an expert on a mountain bike. First experience with a mountain bike, I'm taking it slow. I've seen some bad wrecks. So, maybe he's a level 5 out of 5, and he rides, 2 hours a day with all his buddies through the most rugged terrain he can find. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe this isn't a match. So I ask him, where do you go? Where do you ride? And how long do you ride for every day? His response, I have a driveway that's 1/4 of a mile long, and I ride down to the mailbox to pick up my mail, and I ride back to the house. That's his daily ride. Now I ride a little more than he does on a regular basis. So my next question is, what kind of bike do you have? Because mine's road ready and trail ready. And he says, oh, it's just an old road bike that I picked up at a garage sale. All right, so after all that, from the original question of what do you do for entertainment or hobbies? Oh, I have a bike. What a difference in the answers between knowing that he has a bike and knowing that he has a bike from a garage sale that he only rides 10 minutes a day. Not really a match. It's just one example of how deep we need to go into a conversation to find out if we're going to take that test drive home with us or not. This is the way we can start deciding fact from fiction. In the end, it comes back to what you want and what you know about yourself that's really going to decide how quickly you're going to breeze through all these people that aren't the one to find the one for you. You have to break it down into little, small increments and know not just the activity, but where you both fit in the activity. I mentioned fishing. I mentioned I'm not a fisherman, but I am a photographer. And while he fishes, I could be photographing something. Those two go together. So you have to think about complementary activities too. But know yourself first. Think about the clarifying questions that you need to ask and sort the facts from the fiction. It'll be so much quicker in the long run to get to where you want to be. Knowing yourself is the only way to get to know someone else. Cut through the crap so you get what you want quicker and easier. Hey, thanks for joining me. I hope this was helpful. Please pass it along if it was, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.